What advice can you give for organizations to help them potentially detect if this group has infiltrated their organization?
I mean, the real important takeaway isn't so much about who the group is. It is
Hmm.
what can organizations do to do exactly that, to detect this kind of activity early. Think about, how would we detect a social engineering attack? How would our staff respond in those kind of scenarios? Do we have reporting pathways where people can flag malicious activity? So I mean, we've been advising customers and others on scatter spider style tradecraft for a long time. We talk about making sure that you empower your help desk staff and customer services staff that operate the phones and maybe focused on IT processes to feel empowered to say no, not to respond to pressure if someone's on the phone telling you they're a senior executive or some other individual in position of authority, to not allow them to use that authority to try and pressure you into bypassing the standard process. So making sure the help desk staff are empowered and that they have a reporting pathway is really important. Obviously, things like using multi-factor authentication is a very strong recommendation, but these individuals are pretty good at talking their way around even when multi-factor authentication is in place. So it's definitely a necessity, but not a guarantee of prevention. And then on top of that, if these individuals do succeed in getting in, you want to be well positioned to detect unauthorized access, suspicious
Hmm.
access, making sure there's monitoring in place to detect logins from unusual locations, non-use of non-standard, non-corporate VPNs, for example. And this might show up as things like impossible travel alerts, users logging in from new and unfamiliar locations, that kind of thing. And then finally, auditing the use of high privilege accounts, domain admins, cloud admins, things like that, looking for any suspicious or unusual activity, perhaps out of normal business hours, or doing things that they haven't done before. Deployment of what would otherwise be legitimate remote management tools, but again, these groups don't necessarily rely on malware that much. They will use legitimate tooling that might not trigger security alerts, but would be unusual for that environment, and they'll use that to gain access and maintain access once they've talked their way into getting a password from somebody.